Kevin Borich, lovely to talk to you. Happy 2024. And it's
Thanks,
already
Paul.
going to be a busy one for you.
I hope so, yeah. We've got some tours coming up. We've had the nice holiday for 2 years, with the pandemic. So, that was really great, wasn't it? Actually,
Well,
that's why we got to record the Duets album.
that was a pretty incredible record, just looking at the guests on there. Because, might I say, Kevin Borich, you know everyone.
You've been around a while and you sort of bump into people and you get connections and stuff. So, yeah, it was most connections with band members and that other people. There's the ships in the night because you're playing at a festival and you all cross and then you don't see each other for a while if you're not in the same town, living in the same city. And I've always been up this end of Australia and, Sydney, and now I'm up in Queensland,
So when did the actual Duets album start? Who was the first one that signed up for the sessions?
It would have been Russell and Tim Rogers. They were both pretty early in that piece.
Mm.
And I think we jumped on quickly with Tim Rogers because he was doing a show, a theatre show. And he said, I can record, just come and we'll set up on the stage with Nick, my producer, Nick O'Donnell, and he could put his vocal on here. No people in the audience, and just did it there. And there were a few. Ian Moss actually came here. He was in Noosa. I think he couldn't get out because of and that's when they'd stopped the getting across the border.
It is an incredible list of the who's who of not only Australian music, but we also see the name Joe Walsh on there. And if I can find your connection to Joe, here we go. The Party Boys. At one point,
Yeah.
Joe was living in Australia. There's Joe Walsh from Eagles up there, and James Gang, of course.
When he plays, he pulls faces even worse than me.
Is that a guitarist thing?
Yeah, well, you don't know. People think you're doing it on purpose, but you're not.
Yeah.
You're in ecstasy or agony. Someone says, look like you're in, you're in ecstasy, Kev. And I said, well, if I hit the right note, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find a date on this album. Here, I recorded 1985 at the Moby Dick Surf Club, Whale Beach in Sydney, with Joe Walsh on here. So Joe was living in Australia at the time, but obviously here we are.
He came out. He came out for it. I don't think the Eagles were doing anything then. I know one of the times that he came over, a couple of times, was because the Eagles were already going to come a month later or something. Yeah.
I remember I think it would have been the Shell Harbour Workers Club. I would have been at one of those shows.
Yeah, that's a big place. That was a nice big place for that sort of thing.
Yeah. So it's incredible, isn't it? We're talking 1985 there, and that was a couple of albums in. We're almost at the 40th anniversary of when you and Joe were performing together.
And that's when he slept on the couch in my lounge in Bondi when I was living there.
Mm.
I got a phone call after rehearsals that evening, and, hey, man, you got a couch? I said, yeah, Joe, sure. So I said, you mind if I come over, man? I said, couch is yours.
Hey, man, you got a couch. I'm surprised he's never used that as an album title. That actually sounds like it should be a Joe Walsh album.
In his drawl. I wasn't doing, hey, man. It's like real drawl. Draws it out.
Yeah. So jumping ahead almost 40 years to now, the Fires.
I had the riff that starts as an opening, and also I was communicating with Mark, a friend of mine who lives in Canberra, who actually was getting a farm together, and he had it all happening with sheds and equipment and planted up, and the fires went right through and knocked them all over, and he was in a very depressed state, and I was talking and letting him give it out so he wouldn't bottle it up, and he came up with 6 words that were a good line, and I thought, well, we're going to put them together, and wrote the rest of the lyrics, and it's just about the experience of being in the fires, because he was telling me what it was exactly like, so it was like I was there without getting singed, and he was, and I thought, then I thought, well, Joe would like this. It's kind of rocky and a little bit on a country rock thing in a way. And when I last saw him, he as we were leaving the dressing room with my wife, he said, "Hey, if you ever want me to play on anything, man, just send it to me." And so we did.
Wow.
And that's how it came about.
You've kept in contact with Joe Walsh, and obviously.
Yeah, you leave a message, maybe you'll call. I usually send two messages, one to his roadie, Smokey, and one to him, and see what happens.
Yeah.
He must have a million people trying to ring him, so I don't really try that much.
Yeah.
Just when certain things happen, like that happened. One other time was when he it wasn't the Party Boys, it was the friend of mine who played his festival he got 500 people on his farm, and he said, Joe Walsh, why don't you get him, come out and play? And I said, mate, he's probably playing at the White House. I don't think he wants to play on a farm in front of 500 people. He says, well, why don't you ask him? I said, well, I will. So I did. And lo and behold, I get a call from Joe. Hey, man, I'm in London. I'm just on the 50th anniversary for the Fender Stratocaster, but I'll be down in Australia because the Eagles are coming. I can play on the farm.
We talk about the 40th anniversary of when you were doing the thing with Joe or thereabouts. If we go back 60 years, the Mergers formed, didn't they?
Mergers. What a murky name, we thought. We got to change it. And so we were in the kitchen at Trevor Wilson, the bass player's place, and his mum was in the kitchen doing stuff, and she overheard us going, trying to be the Criminals, or all of these tough names that we had. I'm not having any son of mine calling himself the Criminals. Why don't you call yourself something nice, like the La-Di-Das? We all went, oh, what?
That's serious, isn't it? That's where the name the La-Di-Das came from somebody's mother.
Yeah. She didn't want her son involved with someone with a name like the Criminals. And so we couldn't think of anything. We just went, we'll go with that. Wow. So that's back in those days, yeah.
Yeah, La-Di-Das was such a successful band, like with the hits that were in there. I think you came to Australia. Was the Easy Beats one of the bands you supported in the early days?
Yeah, that was in the old stadium in Rushcutters Bay. It was they had a revolving stage. They did. I got stuck on the corner and I forgot to be on the revolving part. I was playing and all of a sudden I opened up. I looked for the band. The band's gone. I went round the corner.
Yeah, I loved that era. A song like "Morning, Good Morning" or "Gonna See My Baby Tonight" in the top 40. Imagine a rock song like that in the top 40 today. It just doesn't happen anymore.
No. Well, we sort of, I don't know what it is. It's all different. The way the radio is now, it all comes down, and the DJs haven't got much of a say what they play. Community radio do, of course, and they're wonderful. I think the big ones, basic robots and shock jocks, say something naughty so people go, oh, what's he going to do next?
But a song like "Gonna See My Baby Tonight," 50 years ago that came out, you can play that in concert today and everybody knows immediately as soon as you start playing it what it is.
It's amazing, isn't it? And they just get all get up. It's like a friend to them, They communicate with it, and that's why it's so important for us to be able to get airplay. That's why we're so thankful for community radio, because they do give us a go. ABC played some of my stuff. I think.
La-Di-Das at one point were earning the big bucks, weren't they? I think by big bucks we're talking $300 a night.
Yeah, I think I got a price list of the Sunbury Festival. I think Thorpe was about 150, was it 1,500 or something, or $2,000 or something. We were down about 1,000 or something, that was Sunbury's early stuff. There's a whole list of what everyone, but I can't remember them all. See, the dollar was something then.
But you were getting paid more than AC/DC.
Well, maybe at that time, when
it'd be nice if it were today.
Look what happened. I've got a great bit in the book when I was writing. we were recording in Alberts, and George and Harry were doing the AC/DC album in their own studio. And I spied Bond sitting by a piano, the grand piano, instead of cover, and he was down there writing. He's going, and I said, "How you going, mate?" And I said, "I'm writing all this shit." He said, and the lyrics were some of the sort of anthems that are of today, you know. I think he was trying to write something deep and meaningful, and was hoping to, but they were just saying, just write something rocky, you know, about now, you know, how rock moves you and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, but it was quite funny. I saw him later in America when they were still doing clubs, and we had a big laugh about that. I said, "Oh, those lyrics worked all right for you, mate." And that's the last time I saw him, because he passed away pretty early in peace.
Yeah, well, I think some of those early lyrics, you know, something like "Ain't no fun waiting around to be a millionaire" was literally a letter to his wife back in Australia at the time.
Okay,
exactly that.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, there's a great lyric.
Let's talk about another album that I might be able to dig out from down here. Remember this one?
Direct to disc. Wow.
Yeah.
Now there's a challenge.
Yeah.
Playing a whole side of that album without stopping just a few seconds in between tracks, and then going to the next one.
Direct to disc, man. So
yeah,
literally.
Yeah. So there's no mixing. No mixing. You do a rehearsal that you get the sounds balanced, and then you play the first song and you go right to the end of the one side. And if you make a mistake or something mucks up, you've got to go right and start all over again.
Wow. I've had that album, well, since it came out.
That's what it meant. Direct to disc, don't you? It was so much of a challenge.
Yeah. To
do what 8, 9, 7 songs or whatever it is, one after the other, you know, and get the everything right. And then it took one, you know, we did one side one day, and the next day we did the other side. Mm-hmm. And we're coming to the last time. I think Bob Birtles is playing a solo on sax. He used to play with Max Merritt. He was a great jazz player, top musician, you know. So he's sitting in a booth waiting for his solo with a bottle of scotch. And we go through and we've done multiple takes, and we've fallen over, and it just hasn't worked. And there's poor Bob still sitting there. And then we've got one more chance. So he says, "Boys," Bob says, "come here." We all get together. He says, "I want you to play like you've never played before." Good. We all fell over laughing, and we did it, and it worked. Did a great take, and the whole side was great.
Wow.
I always remember that point. I thought it was fun.
This was another Kevin Borich Express album. This would have been the first album, was it? Yeah.
That's after La Di Da sort of splintered. I did a 3-piece album under the La Di Da name.
Yeah.
Because my son, I got married, and Lucius was born, and so I thought I'd keep the name so I could get more gigs. And that's Rock and Roll Sandwich.
This one, 1977, Going Somewhere and Going Downtown. Are they songs that are still constantly on the set list?
I kind of pin them together at the end of the show, because by that time we were really going through the roof. So it's and it's just a real pumper that going somewhere at the end.
Yeah. And then we got into the 80s. Here's another one of the Kevin Borich albums from...
that's a live one.
I imagine this recorded in Melbourne and Wollongong.
Yeah, with Tim Partridge and John Watson on drums.
Right. And at this point, I guess, you know, Kevin Borich Express have been around for a while, and the La Di Da's started to come back into the set list at that point. So, you know, Gonna Send My Baby Tonight, for instance, is on this album as well. So
yeah, well, when you get airplay, you've got to play it, really, because, you know, people are mad if you don't, really.
Was there a point where you didn't do La Di Da's, or did you go straight from La Di Da?
Yeah, you know, sometimes I don't play it, and then some people go, "Why didn't you play it?" And then I'm going, "Well, you know," and I think, "Well, why aren't I playing? Because they want it, play it." You know, I think some musicians get a bit sort of thing about having to play that song all the time. And but you know, once you get tossed around in your brain a bit, and you go, well, don't be stupid, just play it, and it works, and it's a fun song. It's all up, and it's great. I think you're mad if you don't, but sometimes I don't know why. Sometimes maybe I've gone over time or something. Once you get rolling, it's hard to stop.
There was a cultural moment for you, Kevin. TISM coming up with the track Kevin Borich Express Part 1, 2, and 4. I mean,
yeah, I've always wondered. I said, someone's bloody well sending me up. What's going on here? I didn't really know if it was like in respect or a piss take, you know.
But
so
either way, they were
so it must have done something.
Homage. Yeah.
Well, bad publicity is good publicity, or whatever, you know.
Have you ever spoken to TISM about that?
I don't know. I think I may have at one point, but I can't remember. Yeah. I've got a good excuse. I've been nuked. I went through cancer, and they tried me. So yeah, this is what's left.
Well, you know, that was, you know, a very scary moment for you as well.
We just moved up here on 80 acres of beautiful, pristine bush, and we built a house out of the rock that were on the property. A lot of the walls and it's all done, and we're just working on the garden because we had to bulldoze. So there's, you know, the bush is always trying to come back, and then we get the news of the cancer. They got a lump come up out here in my lymph gland, and thought it was something to do with my teeth. But they did 2 biopsies. The first one, they didn't catch it. The second biopsy, they did. And then it was like, wow, we've just come here. We just got what we were dreaming of. And we weren't dreaming about this. And the nightmare sort of started. But my wife, Melissa, is a wonderful woman. And she steered me in the right direction. She's a yoga therapist and a meditation teacher. She's got her own studio on the land here. And teachers. And so with her togetherness and me following what we were to do, you know, we did both. We did Ruth Salento, a wonderful book called Choose Your Own Survival Path. That I recommend anyone to read that. It's very helpful in your fight. And we also did what the medical profession was suggesting, you know, radiation, and then later they said chemo, you know, and it really knocked you about. But you know, I'm happy to be here. We got through it.
And you're all good now?
Yeah, it's all good. You know, you've always got, you know, all your teeth fall out because you've been nuked. So you got to have implants. Your hearing has got worse than what it was because it used to be 2 stacks of 100-watt Marshalls, you know, and that didn't really help much for your hearing. And so that actually took hearing out, and the guy said it's going to affect your feeling in your fingers. And I said, what's this designed for guitar playing? Actually ruin the whole thing, you know. And so we had a lot to contend with. So we're pretty amazing that we got to what we are here now.
Yeah,
so, picking on.
And we've still got you around to perform live: Queensland, Tasmania, New South Wales, ACT, and Victoria in February, March, and April. You're a busy man. Looking forward to the shows. Album out now. Thanks for joining us at Noise 11, Kevin.
All right. Thank you.